Everything's made fresh with real ingredients, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Located off Victoria and Grand. Learn more or place your order at cafelatte.com. That's cafelatte.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
You are listening to a special broadcast of AM 950 News from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. I am John Parker. We are preempting our regular broadcast of The Gailey Show to continue our coverage of the shooting death of Alex Preddy in Minneapolis this past Saturday morning, as well as new updates of Operation Metro Surge. But breaking right now, as we're going on the air, there has been a shooting in Arizona involving Border Patrol agents. So reading here from the Associated Press, one person was shot and in critical condition Tuesday in a shooting involving the Border Patrol near the U.S.-Mexico border. The Pima County Sheriff's Department said it was working now with the FBI and U.S. Customs and Border Protection in response to the shooting. It was in Arivaca, Arizona, which is about 10 miles away from the border. It involved a Border Patrol agent and a suspect, according to Pima County Sheriff's Department, telling that to the Arizona Daily Star, reporting that information out. The Santa Rita Fire District said it responded to the shooting, and there was one person who was wounded. One person who was wounded is in custody. The patient care was transferred to a local medical helicopter for rapid transport to a regional trauma center. That is all the information that we have right now. Unclear if there is any video related to the shooting. I imagine, though, we will start to know that very shortly if there is any video from legal observers of what happened here. But breaking news as we are just going on the air, there is a shooting involving Border Patrol leaves one in critical condition near the U.S.-Mexico border. Here in the Twin Cities, Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino is supposedly out of the state. We actually don't know if he's left yet, but the expectation is that he is either already gone or is going today. That was announced yesterday by the White House. They also said that he is not losing his job, but he is headed to California, is our understanding, where he will take on other duties. So he is leaving. We do not know yet how many agents have left Minnesota along with him. Yesterday in their announcement, they said in the conversations they had with Governor Walz and with Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey that agents would also be leaving along with Bovino, but we still don't know how many, if any, have been assigned elsewhere. We do know the agents who were involved in the death of Alex Preddy, shooting and killing him. They are no longer in the state. So they have been reassigned to other areas. We don't know if they're together. We don't know if they're in separate locations. There are reports they're on administrative duties, not out in the field. So, there's that for right now. Tom Homan, the border czar, is here now, got here yesterday. He's met with Governor Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. Both of them said to him in no uncertain terms that Operation Metro Surge must end immediately. Governor Walz also, in a statement to the public and to the press, said that he called on Homan to have impartial investigations into both the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. and that Walz said he wants an end to the campaign of retribution against Minnesota. What we do know in terms of specifics is that the Minnesota Department of Public Safety will be the primary liaison with Homan moving forward. There haven't been a lot of at least reported ICE activity here today. Looking at where ICE raids have been happening, we don't have a lot to report out here. There are a lot of outlets reporting that there aren't any signs that the immigration, that the number has come down. There were reports of 2 people detained in Columbia Heights earlier on Tuesday. There's video of that. There's still a number of, if you go to the website People Over Papers, you can see there are still a number of operations happening throughout the metro.
Well, and we know that baby Bambino has been hiding out in Maple Grove, and there was a protest up there because we finally figured out where he was. I hope he never has another restful night the rest of his life. I'm going to speculate a little bit, because I think this is what every good citizen does. We hear these vague statements that he's leaving and some agents are leaving with him. So I've come up with a scenario that makes sense to me. It's not an optimistic scenario, but I always hate to be surprised by bad news. So I say, well, let's say he and 200 of the criminals have left. That seems like a conservative estimate. And that Tom Homan's going to be in charge of 2,600. I'm saying 100 good people, 2,500 bad people. That's my theory, so that I can calm down about what's going to happen, what's going on. That's my assumption. If the government would do its job and release any kind of statistics, we would know more specifically what's going on, but they're deliberately trying to haunt us with, terrible communication. So good that Bovino's gone. My friends in California, in Southern California, I bet my bottom dollar he's going to be up in Oxnard. He's going to be up in Ventura County. That's where all the cops go. Keep an eye out for him. Keep an eye out for him. He's well recognizable. He's about 5 feet tall.
Okay,
You'll
that's
see him.
Speculation. We don't know where he is going to be sent to. There is reporting from MS Now. They broke today about 2 investigations. So the Customs and Border Protection will be investigating Customs and Border Protection into the shooting of Alex Preddy. However, according to MS Now reporting today, the Department of Homeland Security is also investigating Alex Preddy to see, quote, whether he broke any laws, end quote. They've also announced that there will be no civil rights investigation into Preddy's killing.
Oh, no.
This, of course, is coming as Trump is telling folks as he's leaving the White House that he wants to see a full investigation into what's going on here. So, and that it was very sad, and everybody is starting to report on, oh, he's expressing, he's retreating from what people were saying over the weekend.
Is he really? Oh.
Yeah. So,
the old fool, just whatever anybody tells him to say, he doesn't know what's going on. He's not paying any attention. He's texting. He doesn't have time to know he's like your kid at the dinner table. He's not listening to your conversation, and this dope isn't either.
But he is very clearly a TV president.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason why he is making any shift is because he's seeing how badly it's playing on TV.
Right.
And so now has made a shift. The problem, as always, with the Trump administration is that they say one thing and they're doing another. So he's going in front of the television cameras to have a different episode of television in his mind of Trump today.
Right.
And where he's, playing the role of the concerned president who wants to see a, full investigation. And this is all very sad. And yet his agencies, Custom and Border Patrol, they're the ones who committed the alleged crimes. They're going to be investigating themselves. And oh, by the way, the Department of Homeland Security is going to be investigating the victim.
And they killed some, or came very close to killing somebody today. There's no reason for Border Patrol to be killing people.
You're talking
Control.
about Arizona.
Right. But my point is, these are not people, first of all, that should have long guns and assault rifles. These are, good Lord, people,
Well,
think about what it is they're
is-
doing. They don't need to be armed like they're going into Vietnam.
I want to
It's
pick up.
ridiculous.
I want to pick up that point because part of the issue that people are speculating of why Trump has been saying what he's saying is that gun rights groups are freaking out right now.
Yes.
Because they show up to their own protests with AK-47s and rifles and handguns.
Yep.
And so they're saying, wait a minute, Alex Preddy was a lawful gun owner. He had a lawful conceal and carry permit. That doesn't mean that he gets to die. And I think what's really fascinating right now is how many of the right wing, and the latest is today, Megyn Kelly, who's saying on her show that she doesn't feel sorry for Alex Preddy. And I can't believe I'm going to quote her here, but it just shows you how she said, you know why I wasn't shot by Border Patrol this weekend? Because I kept my ass inside and out of their operations.
Yeah.
So she's like, if I felt strongly enough about something the government was doing that I would go out and protest, I would do it peacefully on the sidewalk without interfering via a whistle, via shouting, via my body in any way. I would make my objections known by standing there without interfering.
Yeah, which was Alex was doing that. He was an observer. This is one thing that I'm very angry.
Which is what he was doing.
The media,
frankly,
I'm angry at the media because they're calling him a protester. He wasn't. He was an
legal
observer. He was. It was video, recording with his phone what was going on, and he was helping the traffic move through. And he helped a lady that the, what's pepper sprayed, and she fell to the ground. So he was being a great citizen. And for somebody like Megyn Kelly, that human piece of something terrible, to impugn somebody that was actually a good citizen, knowing what a horrific human being she is, that's ghastly. Now, but here's what I love. The people that do bring their guns, the right-wing Second Amendment bull crap people, they deserve to be shot according to the government, defense of killing Alex Preddy. So the hypocrisy that all of us have seen thousands of times is being played out in the opposite direction this time.
We're gonna pick that up because this is influencing what the Trump administration is doing. But for right now, we're gonna take a very quick break. You're listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 Radio and WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Get ready to zoom into a world full of color, música, and alegría at Children's Theater Company. Go Da Go, Ve Pero Ve is a bilingual musical bursting with playful, high-speed energy as dogs drive, swim, and race to the big dog party. This joyful espectáculo blends English y Espanol with expressive physical storytelling. Go Da Go is sure to have you laughing, moving, and howling with delight. On stage January 20th through February 22nd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Hey, this is Andy Otto, Executive Director of Twin Cities Pride and your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified. Our community needs your help. Twin Cities Pride is collecting donations to help our local community in need. We're collecting everything from shelf-stable food to household cleaning supplies, infant care items, and personal care products at our Pride Cultural Arts Center. If you're looking to help, reach out to us at info@tcpride.org or just stop by 1201 Harmon Place in Minneapolis. It's our time to take care of our community and take care of each other all year long.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Welcome back to a special broadcast of AM 950 News. I am John Parker. We're preempting our regular Gaily Show broadcast that we would air because we're really focusing in specifically on Operation Metro Surge and the shooting death of Alex Preddy this past Saturday by Border Patrol agents. Reminding you of the breaking news that is happening over the past hour is there has been one person is in critical condition after a shooting involving Border Patrol on about 10 miles from the U.S. border in Arizona. So not a lot of details left. Unknown whether or not there were any video from legal observers on what happened there. The patient was transferred to a local medical helicopter for rapid transport to a regional trauma center, according to the Santa Rita Fire District, who responded to the shooting. So we'll be monitoring that to see if there's anything else that comes out of that for the rest of the hour. We're going to have the author Patrick Nathan joining us at the bottom of the hour to talk about his book, Image Control, Social Media, Fascism, and the Dismantling of Democracy. Really interesting conversation forthcoming with him about the videos and what we're seeing around that and the violence of that and how that's being used by the media. Jim, you were making a point before we went to break around how this administration, which touts itself as the most pro-gun administration of all time in the history of the Republic, is now saying that if you bring a gun to a protest, then you should be expecting to be engaged in gunfire. And the NRA and other gun rights caucuses in Minnesota and throughout the country, and all leading gun advocates who are elected officials are saying, whoa, wait a minute, that's not our policy, is it? So they've been coming out. Of course, they have to take the opportunity to blame Democrats in Minnesota, Governor Walz, Mayor Lee in St. Paul, Mayor Fry in Minneapolis, saying, well, if they had only cooperated with ICE, then somehow this wouldn't be happening, which is ignoring all of ICE's tactics to be as cruel as possible, to be as aggressive as possible, as demonstrated by all of their activities, not just here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, but also in Chicago and elsewhere where they have been conducting operations. But I wanted to also, did I get to your point there, Jim, that that's their...
Yeah, it's consistent. It would be consistent for right-wingers with guns at protests to be shot by law enforcement because they dare to bring a gun. So that's what we should expect.
That is what the Trump administration is now saying, is if you bring a gun to a protest, then expect to engage in gunfire with
we're going to shoot you.
Law enforcement who's there. But that is not what they want to happen at their Republican National Convention or at their protests when they're really upset about drag queens reading to
Yes.
kids. And I say that because
Yes.
we have seen protests where they have come to libraries to say you shouldn't have drag queens reading to kids, and they show up with weapons.
Oh, yeah.
With guns.
Yeah. You don't need that kind
So,
of weaponry for border.
You know, why do they get to do that and everything's a-okay there, where we have another individual here who is engaging his constitutional rights both to legally observe what ICE is doing and to document that, and wasn't engaging with Border Patrol agents. We all saw the videos, wasn't doing that. And also exercising his constitutional right to have a concealed firearm on him.
Yep.
He was doing everything according to the Constitution.
Right.
And Border Patrol said no.
Yeah.
No.
Trump's America.
This seriously, MAGA's America at this
MAGA's
point.
America. Yeah.
Over the weekend,
Dangerous place.
the CEOs of Minnesota's largest businesses finally put out a letter. They called for immediate de-escalation of violence in the state. And these, the CEOs of Target and General Mills and United Health Group and 3M, who have all been criticized since the beginning of Operation Metro Surge for not saying anything. There was even an interfaith sit-in the corporate headquarters of Target. Over 100 faith leaders sat in there and said, we're not leaving until the Target CEO agrees to a meeting with us. They did have that meeting last week, waiting to see what came out of that. But they released a letter that basically, said we need to have an immediate de-escalation. They said local and federal officials need to come together to foster progress. I guess it's a letter. They've put out a letter. I guess they put out a statement. It doesn't really, I'm not quite sure what exactly it says.
It was an embarrassment. I have never been so disgraced by the Minnesota. Well, I have one other time. This is the second time I've felt so ashamed of the Minnesota business community, because one of the logos on that letter is Ecolab, and Ecolab furnishes equipment to ICE. So everybody that's working up in the northern suburbs at Ecolab, you ought to be looking in the mirror a little bit and asking, well, am I doing the right thing here? Because I think you're on the wrong side of, heaven and hell, if you want to put it that way. So no, it was a sad commentary. Again, drawing equivalency between inhumanity and people standing up for themselves and saying, you both have to kind of find middle ground. That's idiotic. If a journalist says it, it's idiotic, because we know right from wrong. All of us do, no matter which side of it we're really on.
Workers from Target responded in a letter or had their own letter on January 23rd to the CEO. So this came out 2 days before the CEOs wrote their own letter, where they said, and there's a quote, in the face of this tyranny, continued silence from our leaders will never make us safer, as already evidenced by ICE's kidnapping and assault of 2 Target Richfield employees who were both minors and citizens.
Well, Nazi Germany, Krups and Volkswagen made a ton of money off the Nazis, and other German companies did too. Those are the 2 that are in my head. So this crowd, some of those people are making a lot of money off of this, and that should make each one of us so sick we can't eat for 3 days. So shame on any Minnesota company that's working with ICE. Shame on you.
We are going to have a break here. When we come back, we are going to have the author Patrick Nathan. He is the author of Image Control, Social Media, Fascism, and the Dismantling of Democracy. It's a book that came out just a few years ago, but I've been rereading it, and after the videos of legal observers for the past 3 weeks, I thought we got to have him on here to talk about this book. So when we come back, we will talk with Patrick. You are listening to The Gailey Show on AM 950 Radio, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and AM 9 and WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. More after this break.
Hi, Minnesota. Stephanie Miller here. Join me every weekday morning from 8 to 11 for a humorous look at politics and current events on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Theater in the Round Players is kicking off the year with a beautiful new production of How to Catch Creation. It's a soulful drama centered on the powerful legacy of a Black feminist writer from the 1960s. Her story reaches across time, weaving together the lives of 4 artists searching for art, family, and a place to belong. You'll be captivated by this profound exploration of identity. Experience How to Catch Creation at Theater in the Round now through February 8th. Tickets at theaterintheround.org.
Hey, it's Beth from Big Hill Books. Yes, the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. When the world feels too serious, we say grab a book, pet a cat, and let Gigi the shop dog remind you joy still exists. Because reading and smiling are both acts of resistance. Find us at 405 Penn Avenue South in the lovely Bryn Mawr neighborhood, or visit bighillbooks.com. Be sure to say hello and tell the gang you heard about us on AM 950.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to.
Hello?
Hello.
I cannot hear you. Why is that?
Can you hear me now? I am going to talk.
The test works.
So you hear what I am saying. I can't see what. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No? Do you see the private chat on the right side of your screen? Can you see that, Patrick?
Care of it for you. I provide fast, thorough, and reliable snow removal. Your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and completely stress-free. Stay warm, skip the back-breaking work, and let me handle all the heavy lifting this season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. We got 30 seconds before we come back in. So we figured it out. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
2 below and Wednesday sunny with a high near 7. Since 1984, Cafe Latte has been serving up gourmet soup, sandwiches, and salads in a relaxed cafeteria setting. Everything's made fresh with real ingredients, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. Located off Victoria and Grand. Learn more or place your order at cafelatte.com. That's cafelatte.com. You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You are listening to a special broadcast of AM 950 News. I am John Parker. We have preempted for the hour our regular broadcast of The Gailey Show to continue our coverage of the shooting death of Alex Preddy this past Saturday by Border Patrol agents and the ongoing Operation Metro Surge happening here in Minneapolis. No new updates. We're following the breaking news out of Arizona of the shooting involving a Border Patrol agent on the border about 10 miles from the U.S.-Mexico border. One person is in critical condition. We'll continue to monitor that and bring in any updates as they become available. With the videos that we have been seeing from legal observers and the photographs that we've been seeing all over social media happening as Operation Metro Surge has surged here in Minneapolis. That coincided incidentally while my reading of Image Control, Social Media Fascism and the Dismantling of Democracy. The author is Minneapolis-based writer Patrick Nathan. And as I've been covering what's happening here and also consuming a lot of media about what is happening here, I thought I've got to bring Patrick on to talk about his book. Patrick is the author of Image Control, Social Media Fascism and the Dismantling of Democracy, which came out in 2021. As well as Some Hell, which was a finalist for the Lambda Literary Award. His new novel, which we absolutely loved here, and how we originally met Patrick, The Future Was Color, came out in 2024. It has been come to our attention many times of how good that novel is, and if you haven't read it, you need to. He also writes Entertainment Weekly, Weekly spelled Weakly, which is a Substack newsletter about culture, technology, politics, and art. Patrick, it is so good to see you again. It's been a long time since we've talked.
Yeah, you too. I think I've been all over the place and just got into a new apartment. As you know, anyone who's watching on the video can see the total mess behind me. But hello.
Hello. Well, I love all the books. I love all the books behind you. All right. So early in your book, which I'm holding up here for folks who are watching on YouTube, and we have a link in the show notes for you to get your copy. Early in the book, you're talking about our faith in photos, in the sense that one might exist that is so terrible that will change our lives because of it. And here we've been having videos, multiple videos of people being shot to death by ICE, by Border Patrol. And the idea that if we document this, eventually there will be one that is just so terrible that will wake up, come to our senses, and stop all of this. And these videos have now been, they're there to document evidence. There's illegal observers documenting evidence of a crime, and yet they've been captured by US media, and now they're being analyzed frame by frame. And essentially, they're being turned into content. And if they're being turned into content, then they're now part of our media economic system of profit making, which sounds horrible to be saying that, because these are videos that are supposed to be documenting evidence of a crime. Unpack for us your arguments that you're making in the beginning of your book about how there are no last photographs.
Yeah, so my kind of intent was to highlight how we always think there's going to be some sort of image or video or spectacle that will be, like you said, so horrible that it will put an end to the opportunity to capture such a photo or a spectacle. But I think even since I've written the book, I think the widespread coverage of atrocities in Gaza has made very clear that there will always be a lower depth to plunge in terms of the things we can see. I think the videos of children in particular that came out of Gaza were almost traumatic just to see them, if that makes any, not just to witness it, but to see it. And now, this morning, I think it's an interesting, I wouldn't call it an inversion, but maybe a challenge of that with the video of Alex Preddy, that there finally was a video that changed something in a certain way. And I think that's more of who's in the video than it is what the video is. We can talk more about that later, but it's interesting to see the difference between this most recent kind of, as Sarah Matthews would call it, political snuff film, versus the Renee Good video. How a lot of people circulated both of them, but it's with the second video that we almost get a different kind of inflections from certain political, perspectives. And with the Renee Good video, it was almost like, whoever wanted to see that and see a terrorist being executed, that's what they saw. But with the Alex Pretty video, it's a lot harder to make that same, it's a lot harder for those people to make that same connection or to see what they want to see in it. And I think, again, that involves a lot of who's actually in the video, not so much what the video is.
Can you talk to us, because you do such an amazing job in the beginning part of your book, and we would need like 7 episodes to get through the appropriate conversation of your book. So I'm grateful that we have this time together. How you're talking about the use of images and aesthetics and putting that into a profit-making machine, and even how they're framed within websites, and people are watching these websites, they're watching them. I guess Blue Sky doesn't have ads surrounding it as you're scrolling through, but Twitter certainly does, Instagram certainly does. Like, all of these social media platforms, in addition to news websites, are surrounding these videos with ads and making money off of you going to their website to watch a murder.
Right. It's kind of a logical extrapolation of the kind of 24-hour cable news setup that began in the late 80s, where, you know, you have, I think it was, oh my God, I can't remember. I think it was, I got this term from Chomsky, but he's quoting somebody else, where they talk about the news hole, where they have this empty space of like, we have the apparatus to talk about the news, so we have to go find out what the news is. And these kind of user-generated videos have now become a very easy way for networks and social media platforms to basically get engagement with the news, regardless of what the content is. And as with most content, the more inflammatory, the more salacious, the more, you know, the more there's the sense of like, you've never seen this before, obviously the more it circulates. And, you know, a company like Twitter, or a company like TikTok, a company like Instagram definitely sees higher levels of engagement when there is one of these videos circulating. And kind of my interest with the book was to kind of delve into the ethics of something like that, where on the one hand, there is this sense of awareness, there is a sense of using this material to change someone's mind. I think we saw that in 2020 with the George Floyd murder on video, where a lot of people who had never really had to see that before or had never encountered it suddenly were confronted with you know, a reality that Black Americans have been confronted with for centuries at this point. And it made that a lot more real for those people who had never had to confront it. But on the other hand, yeah, you have corporations basically reaping in profits by showing you this content and putting it in front of you in an extremely decontextualized, almost random way, where you could be, you know, getting out of bed, going to make your coffee, opening social media to see what's happening with your friends or your family, and you're confronted with, you know, someone being murdered on a short form video. And then you swipe up and there's, you know, somebody playing with a cat. And it's my kind of interest with my book was how does that kind of flatness or decontextualization turn images or videos into currency? And how does that currency translate to one's own kind of social capital, but also the literal capital of the people who own the platforms?
You write in the book about Trump's deployment of noise to create confusion and fear, and that a terrified and uninformed populace is robbed of its ability to self-govern, paraphrasing you there. this dictatorship, you go on to, again, paraphrasing you, this dictatorship was the single greatest source of entertainment our nation has seen. What struck me about reading that again was that over the weekend, watching how badly he was playing on TV, and you write in there, which I did not know about, how he used to call in to like the Inquirer and other publications to put gossip, like under a fake name. He'd call into these publications and say, hey, this thing's happening with Trump. This is John Parker calling. He'd come with a fake name. He sees how terribly he's playing on TV. So now suddenly this is all very sad what's happening, and he wants a full investigation. Can you talk about his deployment of noise to create confusion and fear, but then how that's leading to this fascist moment that we're living in that you articulate so perfectly in the book?
Yeah, I think there's a really great book by Elaine Scarry called Thinking in an Emergency, and she kind of argues that she's mostly going after the idea of nuclear weapons, how there's no framework for the general public, which actually has the authority technically over Congress to declare war. But because Congress has nothing to do with nuclear weapons, the public therefore has no control over nuclear weapons, and there's no ability to think about the immensity of the decision. And basically, I would argue that since, just to be simple, I would say since 2016, we've been in an emergency of some sorts. Mm-hmm. And it has required careful and I think very honest thinking that has not been done at the appropriate level, I suppose. I think the closest we came to it was probably the week after January 6, 2021, when you saw a lot of people actually in positions of power, and I include media in this category because usually pundits are the least honest people and the least I don't know what's the word, least perceptive seeming. Mm-hmm. But that's when I think CNN or some other news channel, I can't remember which, actually killed the feed from the president's mic. Mm-hmm. He was in the middle of saying something and they just turned it off. And that's the thing that should have been done in 2015. And that's also when Twitter deleted his account. Mm-hmm. That's also when people were seriously considering, like, is this an insurrection? So like, that was the rare moment where I felt like people were actually thinking. And since then, when he basically announced that he was going to run again, the entertainment system ramped back up again.
I want to pick that up when we come back from a break that I have to fit in right here. We're talking with Minneapolis-based writer Patrick Nathan, author of Image Control, Art, Fascism, and the Right to Resist. We have a link in our show notes for you to buy your own copy. We have another link for you to connect with Patrick as well. You're listening to a special broadcast of AM 950 News on AM 950, KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Hi, I'm Jay from Greenhouse Salon and Shop. If your current salon experience feels rushed or impersonal, come feel the difference at Greenhouse. Our artists create personalized styles in a warm, inclusive space, and our shop is full of unique gifts from local women makers. See some of what's in store and book your appointment online at greenhousebryn-mawr.com. Better yet, stop by 403 Cedar Lake Road South in the quaint Bryn Mawr neighborhood of Minneapolis. Greenhouse, where every client feels cared for.
Uncover the rich history of Minnesota through Whoosh, a lively and deeply moving ghost tale. Solo artist Andrew Erskine Wheeler masterfully brings to life a range of characters, intertwining the rich history of St. Anthony Falls in the post-Civil War era with the story of its Irish heritage. This award-winning show weaves a hauntingly local and unforgettable ghost story through compelling song and storytelling. The History Theater's Whoosh plays January 29th through February 22nd. Find tickets at historytheater.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hey, Francois, have you made any New Year's resolutions?
Non.
Well, mine is to learn some French. Can you help me?
Bien sûr.
How do you say this? Can I buy you?
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter
Macaroons from Nicolette's.
des macarons de Nicolette?
Now, say it all at once.
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter des macarons de Nicolette?
Oh, absolutely. I'll have a box of raspberry rose, blueberry cheesecake, and chocolate.
Mais c'est quoi ça?
Thank you, Francois. You can order them online at nicoletsmacaroons.com or visit their store in Plymouth. Merci.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
You're listening to a special broadcast of AM 950 News from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. We are preempting my regular broadcast of The Gailey Show to provide you with continuing coverage of the shooting death of Alex Preddy this past Saturday by Border Patrol agents and Operation Metro Surge, as it is right now. But right now, we are talking with Minneapolis-based writer Patrick Nathan, author of Image Control, Art, Fascism, and the Right to Resist, a book that is even more relevant, or continues to be as relevant, forgive me for putting it that way, since it was first published in 2021. In the moment we're in, as we're watching these videos over and over and over again, and photographs of people who are being victimized, killed by ICE, Border Patrol, and the United States government. Patrick, there was, you write that, and this was in 2021, you wrote, to dispose of Trump and call our work done would be to make a monster of him, to place everything awful about America on his hunched shoulders and cast him out. And we would be reborn. We would be innocent again. And our story would start over with new characters, new atrocities, new monsters. But getting rid of Trump still leaves us with the country that not only elected him, but created him. And that really stuck in my mind, or I couldn't get it out of my mind, after watching an ICE officer clap as another one was shooting Alex Preddy in the back, and then another one said boo-hoo to protesters and legal observers who were shouting at them, "What did you do? What did you do?" Walk us through what we need to do to not only dispose of Trump, but because you've got some answers in here, and I've got another quote that I can give you because you're very quotable in this book. But how do we begin? Because we tried it, right? We tried it. We thought we elected Biden. We're moving on. We got past it. We have new things that we're going to talk about now. And apparently we didn't get past it because we didn't deal with what created Trump. Unpack that for us.
Well, I think I want to preface this with a caveat that, this is kind of the same thing that like an untrustworthy pundit would say, especially back in 2016. But, you know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, why did these people vote for Trump, and you know what exactly was the need that you know, the Democratic Party wasn't filling. Well, turns out that's a very long list. But I think the kind of the simultaneous rise of a fascist right, with a very, very politically engaged, active leftist resistance definitely does indicate that there was a giant hole in the middle of our national politics that the Democratic Party in particular, but liberalism generally, which, you know, took the turn to neoliberalism back in the 90s, couldn't at all fulfill or address. And, you know, you have more and more people suffering, more and more people literally dying, while one party says, we're all doing great, we're all celebrating each other, and we're all going to continue on into the glorious future, when you look around and the reality is obviously not the case. And then you have the other party, in the form of a very charismatic, and I'm sorry to say, funny person, stand up and say, this is all not true, and these people are lying to you, and I'm going to fix it. And, you know, as with most fascist solutions, the answer was racism, hatred, exclusion, death, you know, and doing so in a very humorous register, which is, I think, there's a great Saul Alinsky quote. He wrote the book Rules for Radicals in the 70s, which says that basically as soon as you lose humor, you have lost your ability to use rhetoric. And I think that was another kind of side effect of our very 2010s moment of nobody can joke about anything, and everything has to be taken so seriously, and everyone's traumatized and everyone's victimized. And I think there was this huge internet aesthetic of kind of overtaking a very legitimate, you know, theories and very legitimate discourse around trauma and victimization, and turning it into, oh, I'm traumatized because my friend didn't answer my text. So like you have basically the right disqualifying people by saying this person's a terrorist, so they're not worthy of compassion. And you have people on the extreme online left being like, this person is not worthy of compassion because they're toxic. So you have polarized dehumanization, not in the same register. I want to be very clear about that, but in going in both directions. And I think that's the other thing that kind of gets overlooked a lot, is that when people say both sides, when people say, you know, this is happening on either end of the aisle, like aesthetically, yes, there's kind of a similarity, but ethically and politically, these are extremely different situations. But, you know, what is the aesthetic structure behind both of them? And it is very much entertainment, and it is very much the media. The reason that a lot of people, young people who kind of bought into the social media lifestyle, have this extremely dismissive attitude is because of internet aesthetics, you know, blocking people, celebrating humiliation, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the right has the same attitudes for the same reasons, is that it became funny. Where was I going with that?
No, that
I don't remember.
that was great, and unfortunately, I have it's time. The book is Image Control: Social Media Fascism and the Dismantling of Democracy. Patrick Nathan, you are always welcome here to join us to have conversation, because I always learn so much in conversation with you and reading your books. You can connect with Patrick at patricknathan.com. That is all for us. Up next on WCPT is Democracy Now! On AM 950 in Minneapolis. It is the Matt McNeil Show. And until this time tomorrow, hang in there, I guess, America. Solidarity.